Yes, Geordies, welcome back to another episode. The first thing is always, I hope everyone's well, but I don't know about you guys, that one hurts a little bit. Newcastle United 1, Arsenal 2. When the team sheet come out, I thought, I'm in a no-win situation here. This is either going to be a back five, which I don't want, or Dan Burn at left back, which I don't want. And it turns out it was Dan Burn at left back. So I want to talk about Dan Burn being at left back. And then this is no criticism on Dan Burn, but then I want to speak about the game, speak about some individual performances, then speak about where Newcastle United are as this season. But let's be honest, Newcastle United did not deserve to win that game. Arsenal deserved to win that game. And I want to start by giving Arsenal their flowers because, again, when the team sheets come out, I thought, I'm in a no-win situation here. And I thought you might have thought the same because I don't think any of us think Dan Burn is a left back. And that was clearly shown today because playing Dan Burn at left back clearly and instantly changes the dynamics of our team. But let's talk about Newcastle United in a second. The first thing I want to do is congratulate Arsenal on their win because if we're being perfectly honest with ourselves, Arsenal deserved all 3 points today. I thought they came here with intent, and the intent was to try and get on top of Newcastle, create opportunities, and win the game. And I didn't see that from Newcastle United. Though Arsenal started the game really, really well. They were bright, positive, moving the ball around quickly, being direct when they needed to be. And the balance of their team was really impressive. And I thought by starting Eze, just give them a little bit of oomph in their midfield. And we didn't see that from Newcastle United. If it wasn't for Nick Pope, Arsenal would have been 3-1 up at halftime. So even though it hurts the way we lost the game in the dying moments, we need to be fair to Arsenal and say they deserve their victory. Do you know what hurts the most? As the game was going on, we were starting and beginning to frustrate Arsenal. And you could see that in their play. They were getting frustrated. They were whinging towards the referee. They were punching the ground. They were making needless fouls. We were starting to break up their rhythm, but yet we threw the game away. Right, let's talk about Newcastle and their shape because I wanted us to set up in a 4-3-3. I think going man for man against Arsenal is the best thing you can do when you're more threatening in transition moments. However, our 4-3-3 relies heavily on Anthony Gordon coming inside and our left back pushing wide. So the way Newcastle United set up in transition is their right winger holds the width, usually Jacob Murphy, if not it's Anthony Elanga. The left winger comes inside, supports the striker, and the left back is allowed to get up high and wide and provide the width. Now, Anthony Gordon looked lost today. And the reason he looked lost because he didn't know whether he was coming or going. Because we had Dan Burn at left back, his profile does not complement Anthony Gordon's profile. Anthony Gordon's profile is somebody that wants to come inside and be an inverted winger. Having an inverted winger, you need an attacking left back because you need your left back to provide you with. Dan Burn is not an attacking left back. He's not even a left back, he's a centre back. So when you play a centre back at full back, naturally, they're not going to give you any outlet on the left-hand side. And I thought by starting Dan Burn at left back, it completely changed the dynamics of our left-hand side, which is probably why we're seeing Anthony Gordon look so passive and didn't offer anything because he didn't know whether he had to come inside or he didn't know whether he had to stretch the game and provide width. So I've wrote it down in black and white for you there. Newcastle United rely heavily on our fullbacks for dynamism and width. I understand what Eddie Howe was trying to do, having our right winger push up high and wide and having Dan Burn tuck around as a third centre-back. But our right winger doesn't invert. This is why we always see our left back in more attacking thirds than the right wing, than the right back. So I'll say it again. If you have Anthony Gordon inverting to support your striker, you have nobody stretching the pitch and being width. Dan Burn is not the right profile to complement Anthony Elanga. Dan Burn's profile would complement a raw touchline winger. But to be honest, I just don't like Dan Burn at left back. I felt we overcompensated for Dan Burn, which took away our natural shape. Because we were so fixated on supporting Dan Burn, Anthony Gordon wasn't being an outlet for it. And I'm going to be honest, I thought that one selection at left back took away everything we wanted to do. We started to overcompensate. My biggest gripe with managers is when it's clearly not working, why don't you change it? Be proactive rather than reactive. And I'm annoyed because I've rushed home to make this video and I'm not even going to make it too long, but I just felt like we set out to defend Arsenal rather than attack Arsenal. And what are we being good at? What did Eddie Howe say in his press conference? We're better when we go at teams. We didn't really find any rhythm or any intensity today. And that's what I'm frustrated about. I don't mind getting beat. Honestly, you lose games of football. It's when you're not at it or wanting or even trying to win the game of football that frustrates me. And to be honest, apart from set pieces, we didn't really trouble Arsenal. We had that one shot in the second half that hit the bar. And that was a mistake from Arsenal. But aside from that, we didn't really create anything. If it wasn't for Nick Pope, we would have got beat 3 or 4-1 today. But having said all that, after all that negativity I've just spoken about, we got the big Nick energy. The big German, what a beautiful man, putting us ahead in the first half. It was totally against the run of play, in my opinion. We didn't deserve it. And I was sitting there thinking, how are we 1-0 up? But I'll take it. It was a wonderful delivery from Sandro Tonali and an exceptional header from Nick Valdermeda. So we go 1-0 up, and I thought, this is our time to kick on. We'll go into half time at 1-0, and I thought, we come out in the second half bright, positive, like we own the pitch. And we started brightly because we forced Saliba into a mistake. If we had went 2-0 up there, the game was over. And being perfectly honest, we did not deserve to go 2-0 up. But the more the game went on, I felt like we were frustrating Arsenal. They were trying to force the situation. They weren't really getting to us. They started committing fouls. They were whinging to the referee. That's typical Mikel Arteta, to be honest. But I felt like we were starting to frustrate Arsenal. And once again, I thought our defensive shape was outstanding. We are so defensively disciplined, it's unreal. We're incredibly well coached defensively, but you just had that little feeling that Arsenal were going to get back into the game. And then Eddie Howe tried to change it by going to a 5 at the back, but by going to a 5 at the back, when you're already not getting or not dominating possession, you're just inviting pressure on. Now, the first thing I want to say is, Tino, speedy recovery. I hope you're not injured. I hope it's nothing serious, and I wish you all the best, speedy, healthy recovery. But changing to a back 5 when you're already under the cosh just invites pressure on. Now, I understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to protect his lead. I get it. But again, we didn't have any output, or we weren't threatening to Arsenal as it was. So by going to a back 5, that instantly, psychologically puts the emphasis on Arsenal to attack. But even after that first goal, we look solid. Arsenal were moving the ball around well. They were asking a few questions, but Sven Botman and Milik Chow were eating up everything they were asking. But I do just want to touch on a few individual performances. And let's start with Nick Valdermeda, because I thought he brought and showed his class again today. I thought he led the line superbly. He's someone who can invite others into the game. Every time we look dangerous is when we have bodies around him. But let's be honest, he's such a classy footballer, isn't he? I couldn't be happier that he scored, because it just brings more confidence into his game. And the more confident he is, the more dangerous we'll become, because we need a goal scorer. Somebody who can create and finish. And that's exactly what he'll bring. And I can't lie, I'm excited for the return of Yohan Wissa. I think he's key. We're missing Yohan Wissa. Not only is he clinical, but his movement, his sharp movement inside the box, in and around that 18-yard box is what we're lacking. Then I want to talk about Nick Pope, because although you might criticize him with the ball at his feet, he kept us in that game today. We could have easily have been 3-0 down at halftime. He was making incredible save after incredible save after incredible save. He was commanding his area. I thought it was a really solid and bright performance from Nick Pope. What's it? 4 clean sheets in 6 Premier League games? Any goalkeeper in the world would be proud of that. So I just wanted to give him his flowers today, because I think he deserved it. And anybody who says that's a penalty, please go and give your head a wobble, because even the trajectory of the ball clearly tells you that Nick Pope got a foot of the ball. But it was Arsenal yet again trying to cheat their way into scoring. And let's talk about Jacob Murphy and Anthony Gordon, because they were meant to be our danger men today. And I'm going to be honest, Jacob Murphy was non-existent. Anthony Gordon didn't really offer anything. I felt like a change, especially Anthony Elanga for Jacob Murphy, could have done before it was. The reason being is because Anthony Elanga's pace would have just posed a different threat to Arsenal. And I'm not going to lie, the Arsenal fullbacks had an easy day today. Everything was played in front of them. Very rarely did our wingers look to try and run in behind. What was I speaking about in my preview? Arsenal are vulnerable in transition moments. Not one did we play with speed. Not once did we try and quicken up the tempo. Everything was slow, sloppy. We just didn't look like a team that had played together for the past year. And I don't know what it is with Jacob Murphy. He never grows into a game. If he has a bad start of the game, it looks like he's going to have a bad game. If he has a good start of the game, looks like he's going to have a good game. But I remember watching that game and just thinking, I haven't really noticed Jacob Murphy. I think he suits our team when we have a bit more possession. I think today would have suited somebody like Anthony Elanga, somebody that'll just provide that raw pace, somebody that'll consistently run in behind, somebody that'll receive the ball and look to progress his team up the pitch by dribbling. That's the type of profile we needed today. I thought we were going to get it from Anthony Gordon, but again, I'm going to be honest, he looked a little bit lost. But there is 2 players I want to give a big shout out to. That is Milik Chow and Sven Botman, because wow, their 2 performances were incredible today. You look inside their pockets and you find Victor Gyökeres, maybe even Bukayo Saka. You might want to throw Trossard in there as well, because they're two profiles that complement each other. You got Sven Botman, who reads the game extremely well, who's sweeping up play. Then you got Malik Chow, who's more of the aggressor. The more they play together, the better they'll become. Then do you know where I thought the game was won and lost? In the midfield. I thought we were second best in the midfield today. In the first half, Arsenal won the battle. In the second half, we were slightly better. But again, our midfield didn't control like it normally does. I'm going to be honest, out of our three midfielders, I think only Sandro Tonali can hold his head up with a bit of pride. He was the only one that grew into the game. And when he was on the ball, it looked like he was wavelengths ahead than everybody else. He was seeing the pass, but the guys weren't making the run. Thought he was the only one out of the three midfielders that was really competitive. I thought Bruno was good at times, but he was sloppy at times. When I mean by sloppy, he was the guy that gave away the ball high up the pitch when we nearly conceded that penalty. Just little things like that, protecting the ball better. And I think Bruno's been a little bit like that this season. He's either been incredible or he's either been very sloppy. There's been no in between with Bruno this season. We just need some consistent 7 out of 10 performances. And I'm going to say it, I think Joe Linton was quite passive today as well. He just didn't look his normal self. And this was a graphic that Sky Sports put out before the game. Look at our attack and output. We're ranked 19th for goals, 19th for open play goals, and 19th for shot conversion. No wonder we're not scoring any goals. Defending, we're absolutely excellent, and I've been saying this all season. But considering how that game went, I don't know, I'm just hurt a little bit. Maybe I need to rewatch the game because I was at the game. When you rewatch it on the TV, you can grasp the game a little bit better. But yeah, that one hurts a little bit because all I want from Newcastle United, I don't mind losing games. But as long as the effort's there, the intensity's there, and we're looking like we're trying to win it. But today it felt like, when I was in the stadium, that the game just passed us by a little bit. But I want to hear your thoughts. Look, there's no shame in losing to Arsenal. But look, I want to hear your thoughts. There's a quick episode. I might do another review tomorrow once I've chilled out a little bit. But let me know your thoughts. Drop your comments in the below. Who was good? Who was bad? Did we deserve to win? Did we deserve to get beat? But until next time, stay safe and away the lads.